So
With me right now is Brian Curl, and Brian Curl is, you own and operate Heartland record label.
Heartland Records, Nashville. But I live in the Villages in Florida.
Yeah, now, how cool is that to live in the Villages, Florida, and have a record label in Nashville? That's pretty...
It's difficult.
Do you go back to Nashville much or not?
I go back when I can, if I need to. I've got a friend of mine that works with me that lives just outside Nashville, and so if I need something done and I'm not there, he
takes care of it.
Takes care of it. Yeah.
Let me bring that up just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
There you go.
Okay, how's that?
That sounds good. So, how long have you been in the record business?
I started the label in 2004, so 21 years.
And what made you decide to start a record label?
In my younger days, I did something stupid and I rode bulls professionally.
Oh, PBR.
Well, it wasn't PBR back then.
Yeah.
They didn't have the PBR back then.
Yeah.
I started riding steers when I was 11, started riding bulls when I was about 16. And then after I hit 18, I was riding professionally. And I had a company that sponsored me and paid my entry fees and my gas. And they also sponsored a country singer whose name was Brian.
Okay.
And if anybody knows who Clint Black is, well, Brian Black is his older brother. And Brian and I became good friends over the years. When I got out of rodeo, he was still singing. And he was working on an album, and he asked me to promote it for him. And I told him, I said, I'm not a promoter. And he said, but I know you love music, and so I want you to do this for me. And I got into the business side of it and just fell in love with it. So that's where I started the label from. It was his fault.
His fault, yeah. Do you call him up and blame him once in a while?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Are any of the people that you signed on back in the early days still with you?
No, they're not on the label. But I mean, I have good working relationships with them, and I've helped promote them over the years if they've done something differently. The thing about the music business is there's a million different talented people out there, and the music business is really hard to break into.
It's really hard to break into even playing around here. Yeah.
I mean, one of my first artists that I had, Rebecca Frederick, she had everything going for her. She had the voice, the looks. She was a songwriter. But if you don't get that break, it's and people want to be on a major label, and they don't know that there's a lot of downfalls to that. Now people are starting to do their own thing, and putting their own music out.
Right.
And so it's a lot different than
the internet has changed the whole game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how much 2004? Let's see. How much internet influence was there back then?
None. Hardly at all.
Yeah.
Emails.
Email, yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The emails, I worked for a company once, and 6 months went by, and they asked me if I ever answered my email. I said, what's that? So, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
What's the process somebody goes through to even find their way to a record label?
Well, in the old days, they used to send out demos to record labels or go to the record label office and drop the demos off. Usually what would happen at that point is the executive's secretary would pick up those, and they would put them in the trash can.
Okay.
Because a lot of people will go to Nashville and they'll go into the bars down on Broadway and they'll sing, and they think they're going to be discovered.
Yep, somebody's going to find them.
The executives don't hang out in bars in Nashville.
Yeah.
You will find very few people that ever got discovered in Nashville playing in a bar. Usually it's because somebody knew somebody who heard somebody who told this guy, hey, you need to listen to these people. So it is a lot about
who you know.
There's an old saying, and we've changed it around a little bit over the years, because it used to be who you know, but now it's who you know and what they think of you. Because you might know them, but if they don't think anything of you, they're not going to take your advice on anything.
Right,
so, that was the old way. Now, I get artists that'll contact me through the website or through my email, want me to listen to their demos. When I first started, though, I was probably getting 100 demos a week in the mail. that were CDs.
Yeah.
Some of them were people that were writers that were wanting me to listen to their songs for artists, and then there was others that were artists that wanted to be on the label. And so things are different now. It's more electronic.
So back in the day when you had 100 of those, did 100 responses go back out, or is it one of the things where a lot of them just,
oh no,
if you don't get the call, that means they didn't like it?
No, yeah, pretty much. Because realistically, if you're in the position of being in charge of a label and you're listening to music, whether it be for an artist or whether it be for a songwriter, the first few chords of that demo, they're going to know whether they want to listen to the rest of it or not. And I had a lot of demos that were really bad. There was one that it was called "I Love Bugs," and it stayed in on my playlist for a long time, but only because my son liked to listen to it because it was so funny. But it was awful. It was really bad. Probably the worst song I'd ever heard. But at the same time, you would get demos. Like I got a demo one day from a songwriter that wanted me to listen to their music, and I listened to the first song, I listened to the second song, I listened to the third song, and they were all amazing. And he'd been a writer in Nashville for years. Him and I we became really good friends, and he is actually the one that helps me with my label now that lives in Nashville. And he had written for Starstruck Productions, which was Reba's production company for many years. He was one of the writers there for her, co-wrote some songs with her. Aaron Neville had a song that went to number 2 that he wrote. So, I mean, you never know who you're going to meet through that process.
Yeah.
I listened to a demo from a songwriter, and the song was okay, but the demo singers, because, the writer will write a song and get the demo singers to go in and sing it and then send it out. And the demo singers were amazing. And I met a demo singer. I called him and I said, "Hey, would you be interested in being on our label?" Because he had a band, and it was called Cache Creek. And he said, "Well, yeah," but he said, "My day job keeps me from going out on the weekends." And I said, "Well, what's your day job?" He said, "I play guitar for a little band called Alabama." And that's how I met Kimo Forrest, and him and I became good friends, and we signed Cache Creek, and that's how I met Jeff Cook through Alabama and ended up with him on my label too. So you never know who you're going to meet through that process.
Are record labels isolated to certain genres, or when somebody sends you demos, it could be anything?
I was isolated to mostly country and country Christian, because that is the industry that I know.
Okay.
If you send me a country singer and I want to sign them, I know what radio stations to contact. I know what publishing companies to contact to do all those things. But if you send me somebody who's a metal rock, I don't have those contacts.
Yeah, okay.
So unless you're a Capitol Records or an MCA, something that has those different divisions, yeah. But the independents, you usually stick to one side.
What's the wildest thing that you've ever had besides the bug thing that somebody sent you?
The wildest thing I've ever done in music was to produce William Shatner on an album. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah. I saw just little bits and pieces about it. Tell us how that happened.
Oh, well, Jeff Cook from Alabama, I ended up signing him as a solo artist. He was still with Alabama, but I signed him as a solo artist, and we did a song off the for a Christmas album. He had 1 or 2 songs on a Christmas album, and then we did a album called Got You Covered Volume 1. And I found out that he was a big Star Trek fan of the old show, the first one.
Yeah.
And so was I. And so later on, after we'd done some projects together, I found out that he had made the announcement that he had Parkinson's, and his health started dwindling. And I was sitting, I forget where I was at one day, and I thought, wouldn't it be neat for him to be able to do an album with William Shatner, or somebody that he is, that
loves,
somebody that's his
idol.
hero.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to Shatner's people and pitched them the idea. And within about 4 days, Bill called me on the phone and said, "How do we do this?"
Now, had he had any musical background at all?
Shatner?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's done spoken word albums over the years.
Okay.
He was very well known for his first spoken word music that he ever recorded was called Rocket Man.
Yeah.
He did Rocket Man live on the show, and it was such a spoof that it became very popular.
Okay.
And then he did some other spoken words. And to do the album, I worked with writers. I write now, but I didn't at the time. And I worked with writer friends of mine out of Nashville, which my friend Tom is one of them. And I said, I need songs pitched to me that are going to be for Bill to talk and Jeff to sing.
Okay.
And so we wrote all new songs for the album.
What do you see AI doing with the songwriting industry?
Oh, it's very hard to know where as far as songwriters go, it's a detriment to them, because the programs that they have right now will write a song and it'll record it with the vocal that I can still tell the difference in the two, because there's some tinniness to them, and you'll hear words that aren't supposed to be there sometimes. Yeah. But it's just going to get better.
Totally. Yeah.
I tell writers that I'm friends with. I'm a member of the Writers Work Club here in the Villages, and we talk about that quite a bit. We try not to talk about AI too much in the sessions that we do.
Yeah.
But if you can use it as a tool. Yeah. I used to use a thesaurus. Then I got to where I used Google. I'd say, hey, I need a word that rhymes with this, or I need something that's a different phrasing, and now you can use ChatGTP, something like that. So if you're using it as a tool, and even at Berkeley Music College in Nashville, they're teaching a class on how to use it as a tool. But I don't know where it's going to go. I know we had a song that went #1 on Billboard, that was all AI, and they made a big deal out of it, and it became very popular because what happened is they downloaded it and they sold it as a pre-sale, as a download. And to hit #1 in that part of the chart, you only had to sell like 3,000 downloads. So it wasn't a big seller. Yeah. But once they got #1, it hit all the social media. Oh, there's a #1 Billboard. They don't understand. Yeah. And because everybody was seeing it, they wanted to go to it and listen to it, and it became very popular. So,
yeah, it's like anything else. It's a great tool. I mean, we're using it now and for all kinds of things. And I never thought to use it before. When it first came out, I was a little bit skeptical, but it's like, wow, it's too much of a time saver.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing with film creation and all that stuff. It's all kind of going that way. And speaking of film creation, you told me a little bit about you. You went. What have you been doing the last 3 or 4 years?
Oh, well, after I moved I moved to the Villages 4 years in December. And for 3 years, I was in animation school. 3D animation school is learning character animation.
Now, is that anything that's going to coincide with your music business?
I don't know if it will or not. I think that it will, because if I work on a project that's animation, I've got contacts to have people write songs for the productions or something like that, or voiceover work, that kind of stuff. The music business was really getting hard to deal with, and I actually got sick before we moved here. And so I was recuperating, and I wasn't doing much in the music business. And so I was looking for a way to be creative, because I always have to be doing something.
Yep.
And so I decided I was going to try to teach myself, and I found out you can't do that. So I ended up applying to Animation Mentor, which is the oldest online animation school out of California. Their teachers are all current animators at Disney and Pixar and, all those different DreamWorks. It's a hard school to go through. I've enjoyed it, met a lot of fun people, great people. I'm actually doing a business with one of them that we're looking at putting together a TV station.
Are there other animators here in the villages that
I haven't met any.
Okay.
I
maybe after this somebody will find you out.
I actually looked and thought, is there a group for animators or people interested in animation?
Well, we have 4,000 clubs. You might get to start the first one.
That's true. Yeah.
Back to the music business a bit. Are you more active in it now than you were when you were?
Yeah, once I got into songwriting, and after I moved here, and then I got into the songwriters group, I've been a little more pushing myself a little more to write more music, and then I have quality demos made because I have some contacts in Nashville.
Yep.
And then I started pitching them. I've got a single that I wrote and produced, and it's a duo named Samir and Victoria. And that single will be out on Heartland Records February 13th.
Okay.
It'll be available on all the streaming platforms. And then I just pitched one of my songs to Waylon Jennings' grandson.
Okay.
And the song is called Highwayman Riding Home.
Okay.
And it's kind of an ode to the Highwayman, which Waylon was.
Yeah.
Was
that was.
of, so.
I love the Highwayman.
Yeah.
I had a Johnny Cash tribute. Husband and wife in here. She did June Carter Cash, and I asked him about doing the Highwaymen, and he said that's something we absolutely want to do. They just hadn't been able to figure it out because they don't want to have a whole show of it, but just enough of it because it's well worth showcasing.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. When you said get the song demoed, explain to us what's that process.
Well, after the songwriter writes a song, you'll reach usually you have contacts that are musicians or engineers, and you contact them and say, hey, I need demos. Usually if you need demos done, most people that do demo work will say, okay, you have to have a minimum of 4. And it can be anywhere from $800 a demo to $5,000 a demo. It depends on how much instrumental you want. If you want it done in a professional studio, you've got people that do have home studios that do stuff. It may just be an acoustic demo where you've got a guitar and maybe a drum track behind it. So it just kind of depends on that, and bringing in a demo singer, whether you need a female or a male, and using it that way. But you get into, you were talking about AI. I've got a friend that wrote a song. Him and his songwriting friend wrote a song that Olivia Newton-John actually sang on her album. Her daughter and her cut it before she passed away. And it's a great song, but here a while back he told me, he said, we put it into one of those AI programs, even though it was a great song already, just to see what it'd do, and it just boosted it even more. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know where that's going as far as people that are songwriters using that for demos. Because when you're having to pay a couple of $1,000s for a demo, if I'm a songwriter and I've written the lyrics and I've got the melody, if I can put it into a program and have it done professionally and sound great to send it out to somebody, that's going to cut a lot of cost out
in 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing. I have one of the apps about that kind of stuff, and you can ask it to write a song about a dead daisy in the flower patch. Next thing you know, here it is. As a songwriter, writing the song and the lyrics and that kind of stuff is one thing. Writing the music part of it that goes with it, does a songwriter do both of those?
Sometimes okay. You're just a lyricist. Yeah, lyricist. Yep. Sometimes you might be a composer too. I am a semi-composer, okay, because I don't play music, but I know the melody in my head that I want, and I can convey that to Chemo or whoever's doing the demo for me, and we can work up the melody and things together like that. But it just depends. There's people out there that they write poems, and a poem can be made into a song.
Absolutely.
And so they need to get with somebody who can compose music to it.
Yeah. That's where I think AI is going to really help a lot of people out. Like I said, who might write poetry and geez, that's that might be a great song, but I don't know the first thing about composing.
The problem with that is though that it's because it's so new. There's a lot of legalities.
Oh yeah.
If you take your poem and you put it into the AI and you say, "Hey, give me a tune for this," I'm not going to give you a tune. I want you to generate it, or I want you to generate a whole song because I want it to say this, and it generates it. There are already platforms overseas who have banned AI songs from their music because that's not really. It's not original.
Yeah.
And if you use one of those AI programs, from what I've read about it, if I was to write a song and put it in there and they generated a melody for it, that melody could also be used for any other AI song that somebody else uses on that platform.
Yeah.
And so then you run into somebody will say, "Well, that was my song." No, it was my song.
Yeah.
And so
who did ChatGPT first? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the copyright issues can
there's
be a real big issue in the future.
Sure, there's a lot of those that haven't been sorted out yet. And
Yeah.
the courts will be sorting those out for years probably.
Yeah, but let's say that you wrote a song, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't even write it. Maybe you just said, "Hey, Suno or whatever, one of these programs, make me a song that says something about this," and it makes a song. And then you turn around and you release it. Well, not only does Suno, they still have some rights to it. It says that they give you rights. I've read. There's a couple of different YouTube sites of lawyers who can talk about this stuff. They still have some rights. They can't use it to release anything, but they can get a hold of you and say, "Hey, we want some of your money if you're making a bunch of money off of something."
And if they have more money than you did to start with, they're going to out money to get it anyway.
Yeah. But also, if that song, that melody is used on another song, then there's going to be issues there.
Yeah.
So
you might not be able to fight for those because you just got it off of ChatGPT.
And so you've got this song that went big and you're wonderful, and all of a sudden you're in a court case and you're losing money because you're having to pay attorney fees and all that stuff. So
exactly. So if I'm an artist and I send you something and you like it and you want to take and sign me up, what's the biggest misconception that a lot of songwriters and musicians have about signing up for a label?
The biggest misconception is that all independent labels are out just to take your money.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And there are a lot out there. There's a lot of them that'll say, "Oh yeah, you're wonderful, and for $10,000 we'll do your album and we'll put you out on a single and all this stuff," and then they take your money and they do a terrible job on whatever they do, if they do anything at all.
That's like, I want to be a model. We need $10,000 for your portfolio pictures, and they've made their money and you get nothing. Yeah.
I have always set up my platforms a little differently than anybody else because it's almost more like a partnership.
Okay.
This song that we're doing with Samir and Victoria, I didn't charge them a licensing fee on the song, but they agreed to put it on the label, allowed for me to produce it.
So that you're protected.
And so I'm still part of it, and I actually still own the rights to the song, or at least part of the rights to the song. And they agreed to pay for the production side of it. And then it's almost like a 50-50 split, which most, like major labels, they charge anywhere from 80 to 90%, and the artist gets 10 to 20%. So there's a big difference in the way I do things. And a lot of independent labels will say, "Well, give us some money and we'll do this for you."
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I don't make a lot of money.
Yeah. It goes hand in hand.
Yes.
Being fair doesn't always pay.
Right.
But no, it's you got to live with yourself. So that's
right.
Yeah. And I'm sure probably at this stage of the game, it's probably a lot more fun to just do it for, paying some of the bills and, having fun with it than try to become the next RCA record label.
Right. I always felt like if something happens that's great, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you do it because you love it.
Yeah. Just basically like the musicians.
Yes.
I don't know anybody who said, well, I'm in this for the money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to make it big someday and make all this money.
Kid Rock, I think, is the only one that I know that said, I'm going to be rich and famous, and has become rich and famous.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and there's been a lot that have made it. I mean, Garth Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
You know, people like that, Shania Twain, but they put a lot of years in before they ever made it.
Of course. This wasn't natural talent that they decided at some stage to pick up a guitar and sing and write songs. No, they paid their dues.
In Nashville, they say overnight means 24 years.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not an overnight success until you've put 24 years into your. There's an artist that she's a friend of mine, Celeste Kellogg. She's not on my label. I'm not saying anything wrong here, but she is such a dynamite talent, and she's a businesswoman. And she knows what she's doing, and she's been doing it. And I told her, I said, I would try to sign you to my label, but you're doing everything that I do. So, you know, I couldn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
She was one of the original Disney kids.
Okay.
And she was like a backup singer for one of the actors that had a TV show. I can't even remember what it was, but she plays all the time. She's a songwriter, singer. She's amazing, but she's never signed with a big label either.
So you never had that big break.
Right.
Yeah.
And same with Brian Black, Clint's brother.
Yeah.
Brian actually, in my opinion, and I like Clint. Clint's got a great voice, but Brian and Kevin, Clint's brothers, are every bit as good or better than he is. But Clint was the one that got the contract.
Okay.
So, so that's who we know about.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. And that could have been who you know.
Right.
And how you get there.
Yeah.
Brian, I absolutely appreciate you coming on tonight. This is
I loved it.
Educational. We'll have to get you back on and get an update on your animation venture as it moves forward.
Love to.
All right. Thank you.